In this video, we're going to talk about Trichomonas species. In the previous video, we talked about the Guardia labia, or let me say the Guardia species, and we mentioned that this group of animals, they are flagella, which have more than one flagella. Hence, we can say they are flagellates. Remember that in the previous audios that we talked about the parasitic amoeba or the parasitic protozoan, we mentioned Entamoeba histolytica as the representative parasite of this rhizopods, and we mentioned the mode of their movements to be sauropod, right? And in Guardia species, which is a flagellate, we said they have different flagella. They have the anterior flagella, they have the posterior flagella, they have the caudal flagella, and they have the ventral flagella, right? And we said they have sucker, which is used for what? For attachment to the intestine or the cecum of the what? Of their host. Now, in this video, we'll now talk about the Trichomonas species that causes a disease, and there is this particular representative, which is Trichomonas vaginalis, that causes a disease known as trichomoniasis in both male and female. Even though in male they are asymptomatic, which means male doesn't really show symptoms to trichomoniasis, except females that show symptoms. So we're talking about the diagnosis, the treatment, the life cycle, the morphology, the epidemiology of this group of animals. So, Trichomonas are parasites that inhabit the intestine as well as the reproductive parts of vertebrates and invertebrates. The common species of Trichomonas include Trichomonas tenax, Trichomonas vaginalis, Trichomonas foetus, and Pentatrichomonas hominis. So these are common what? These are common member of the Trichomonas. Let's talk about the general morphology of this group of animals. They exist as trophozoites without any cystic form. They have no cystic form. They have 4 anterior flagella, except for Trichomonas foetus and Pentatrichomonas hominis. From the word penta, it means 5, right? So Trichomonas foetus has 3 and Pentatrichomonas hominis has 5. So, but generally, most of them has 4 anterior flagella. They have a recurrent flagella. When you say something is recurrent, it means something is going backward. You understand? It's going backward. And this recurrent flagella lies on the surface of the parasite to form an undulating membrane. They have a round nucleus at the anterior region of the body, that's at the upper side of the body. The undulating membrane is shorter than the body. Like their undulating membrane is always shorter than the body, except for Trichomonas tenax and Trichomonas foetus. They have axostyles that run down the middle of the body, and they have undulating membrane. The undulating membrane is supported by costa that is located at the base of the body. So I repeat again, the most important aspect of them is their flagella, their undulating membrane, their costa, and they exist as trophozoites without any cystic form. So I can just use a part of this place to illustrate what they look like before I show you the diagram. So look at this. They look like this, and they have an axostyle that runs down. They have flagella. Mostly they have floor flagella, and they have another flagella that runs down. Recurrent flagella. It is always shorter than the body, but in some species, like T. tenax and T. foetus, it is longer than the body to form something like this. So they have what? They have a nucleus. You understand? So this is how they basically look like. Now let's talk about the first representative of this group of animals, which is Trichomonas tenax. Trichomonas tenax is oblong shape, and it is measured about 5 to 6 micrometer to 2 to 15 micrometer in diameter. It has 4 anterior flagella, with the 5th one running down the posterior region, firmly attaching to the body to form a particular membrane known as undulating membrane, like I've mentioned before. Right? I said the parabisa body is near the nucleus, and the axostyle running from the posterior to the anterior. The T. tenax paracostal granules are found along the costa, but in other species like Trichomonas vaginalis, the paracostal granules and paraxostylar granules are present alongside each other and are more numerous than the T. tenax. So the first one that we'll talk about now is what is Trichomonas tenax. So this is an example of diagram of Trichomonas tenax. Now, what you just see here is my illustrating Trichomonas tenax. The part that I indicate now is the flagella. If you count the flagella, they have 4 flagella, right? And this part that I'm back in pink, in orange, it is the undulating membrane. Can you see something that runs like this? That is the undulating membrane. They have the axostyle coming here, and this is the what? This is the nucleus. So this is what? This is just illustration of what? Trichomonas tenax. Now, this is something like a diagram, a well-labeled diagram of what? Of this group of animals. Can you see? They have the anterior flagella. This is the anterior flagella. They have the posterior flagella, and the posterior flagella forms what? It forms the undulating membrane. And remember, whatever the flagella arises from is called the what? Is called the kinetosome. The kinetosome is where the flagella is arising from. They have the parabasal body. So this is the parabasal body here. Look at it. This is the parabasal body. They have the what? They have the endosome. The endosome is around here. Are you getting that? And they have the axostyle. This is the axostyle that runs down the body. That is, this is the axostyle. It runs down the body. Are you getting me now? So this is basically the example of what? The diagrammatic expression of the Trichomonas species, even though this one is for Trichomonas fetus and Trichomonas vaginalis, but still it is just what? It is just illustrating what I've been saying so far. So we can move forward to the life cycle of Trichomonas tenax. Trichomonas tenax is an armless commensal. Remember I mentioned in the first video that Trichomonas species, we mentioned that parasites are basically pathogenic parasites and non-pathogenic parasites. We said pathogenic parasites are the one that causes disease, while non-pathogenic parasites are those one that do not cause disease, but they cause harm to their what? To their host. Hence, we can say these Trichomonas tenax, they are harmless commensal. They don't cause disease, just that they feed on what? They feed on debris and mucus in what? In where they are found. And they are mostly found in what? In the teeth, in the gum, in the pus pocket, and in the crypt of the tonsil. I repeat, the gum, the teeth, the pus pocket, and the crypt of the tonsil. And they are mainly transmitted through kissing and using of cooking utensils. You understand? So this is what? This is basically the life cycle of what? Of the Trichomonas tenax. So we can move to another representative, which is Pentatrichomonas hominis. From the word penta, it means 5, right? This is one of the most common intestinal flagellates in man, and it has been reported in other primates. Remember that man are primates, we are vertebrates, right? They are oblong in shape, and they are about 8 to 20 by 3 to 15 micrometer in diameter. They have 5 anterior flagella. From the word penta, they have 5 anterior flagella, and the recurrent posterior flagella runs down the body, attaches to the surface to form undulating membrane, just like other species like Trichomonas vaginalis. But what makes it to be different from other species is that the undulating membrane, or the recurrent flagella, it runs outside the posterior part of the body. It runs what? Outside the posterior part of the body, compared to what? Trichomonas vaginalis and the Trichomonas fetus. Let me show you what I meant by that. Look at this. Look at this. This is Trichomonas vaginalis. If you notice very well, Trichomonas vaginalis has its undulating membrane to stop here. I mark it in what? In orange. That is, can you see where it stops? But look at this one. It comes down to the what? To the base of the what? Of the body. You understand? To the posterior part of the body. So this is what makes them to be what? To be different. So I'm going to be showing you a diagram of Pentatrichomonas. So this is an example of Pentatrichomonas hominis. So it has the same stuff with other Trichomonas species. But the thing that makes it to be different is what? Is just that the undulating membrane comes outside of the body, and also it is having 5 anterior flagella. So these are the things that makes it what? That makes it to be different. The nucleus is still where it is. The axostyle is still where it is. The undulating membrane extends outside the body, and they have what? They have 5 anterior flagella. So this is what makes them to be quite different. You understand? So let's talk about let us continue to talk about them. It lives in the large intestine. It lives in the what? in the large intestine of man, where it divides by binary fission and it feeds on bacteria and detritus. The transmission is by contamination, and transmission is associated with poor sanitation. The transmission of this group of animals is associated with poor sanitation. It is mostly found in diarrhea stool, with no indication that this parasite is what is causing the diarrhea. Remember, I told you that it's like an harmless commensal. You understand? It is found in diarrhea stool. The trophozoite is found in diarrhea stool, but you can't say that it is this particular parasite that is causing the diarrhea. Remember that we have something called secondary infection. Probably the person is infected with what? Is infected with entamoeba histolytica, which causes diarrhea, and and the person can have secondary infection by what? By the entrance of what? Pentatrichomonas hominis. And the mode of transmission is through field flies, dirty flies like cockroaches, house flies. They are capable of transmitting the what? Transmitting the parasite. Well, the diagnosis and the treatment of this animal. The diagnosis is by demonstration of the parasite in stool specimen. When it says stool, stool means fishes. You understand? It means fishes. And the treatment is not really necessary because it causes no harm to the host. So this is what this is, the diagnosis of the animal as well as the treatment. So let us move to the next one, which is Trichomonas foetus. From the word foetus, which means it is found in what? It is found in the reproductive part of group of animals. You understand? Now, Trichomonas foetus is a parasite of the genital part of the cattle, as well as other ruminant farm animals. It is of great economic importance because it causes abortion in female cattle. It causes what? Abortion in female cattle. It is measured to be 10 to 25 by 3 to 15 micrometer in diameter. It is having 3 anterior flagella. Remember I told you that it has 3 anterior flagella and a recurrent flagella running down the posterior end of the body. The costa is prominent and the axostyle is protruding. I repeat, the costa is what? Is prominent and the axostyle is protruding to the posterior part of the body. And the undulating membrane possesses what we know as what? Axoneme. I get that. So, where are they found? They are found in the vagina and the uterus of a female cattle. And in the male cattle, they are found beneath the prepuce of the genital parts, where they are transmitted venerally during coitus and artificial insemination. That is when they are transmitted. Now, what about the treatment and the diagnosis? The diagnosis is by identification of the trophocyte in the vagina and the perpetual smear of the what? Of the vagina. There is no satisfactory treatment for cow, but the infection is self-limiting by self-immunity, or let me say by partial immunity. In bull, the infection can be treated when the parasites have not entered the testis. If the parasite has not entered the testis, it can be treated. But once it enters the testis, the cow or the bull becomes the carrier for life. You understand? It becomes the carrier for life. So that is what it is all about. So this is an example of what? Of the structure of Trichomonas foetus. So I think I've shown us this one before, but this is what these are. This is the anterior flagella. This is the posterior flagella, which forms the undulating membrane. This is the endosome. This is the parabasal body, right? This is the axostyle, the one that runs down the body. This is the costa. We have the nucleus. Can you see this is the nucleus? And this is the base of the what? Of the posterior flagella. So this is the structure of what? Of Trichomonas foetus. Remember I told you, whenever a flagella originates, it's called the what? It's called the kinetosome. You understand? So that is that on Trichomonas foetus. So the next one we'll be talking about is Trichomonas vaginalis. And talking about Trichomonas vaginalis in the next video. So that will be all for this video. So what have we talked about so far? We talked about the Trichomonas species, and we said Trichomonas are parasites that inhabit the intestine as well as the reproductive part of vertebrates and invertebrates. And I mentioned that they exist as trophozoites without any cyst form, and they have an anterior flagella that is always, or most times they are always four, you understand, while they have a posterior flagella or a recurrent flagella that causes what, that forms the undulating membrane, right? And I said the undulating membrane is supported by what, by a costa that is located at the base. And we mentioned that we have different representative in this group, that is Trichomonas tenax, Trichomonas vaginalis, Trichomonas foetus, and Pentatrichomonas hominis. So these are different what? These are different animals or different parasites that we're having in what? In this group of animals. So in the next video, we're talking about the Trichomonas vaginalis, and we're talking about the trichomononiasis, which is a disease caused by what? Trichomonas vaginalis in male and female. Thank you for listening, and subscribe for more.